Alright, before I head out this morning, there's always been a debate on the actual temperature compared to what Garmin says. So you can see it's 4:42 this morning. I have Bluetooth currently activated on my phone, or actually on my watch, so it shows 79 degrees, which pretty much does what Google says as far as the temperature. So when we get back, when we download everything, we'll see exactly what Garmin thinks the temperature really is. Alright, time to run. Alright, welcome back. Just for the record, Google says it's 81, so we'll see what Garmin says. And today was actually a good run. I did something a little different, I'll show you in a little bit, but I think it paid off. Alright, 32 hours, nice, not bad for 12 mile run. See, and 8:33. I brought the pace down for a reason. I did a heart rate run at about 150. Alright, still at 152. I can live with that. And real quick, see, it's there, 1,800 steps. Alright, let's go upstairs and weigh in. Alright, time to weigh in. I'm not expecting anything impressive this week since I was well fueled. Maybe even a nice recovery. There you go, nice recovery from last week's drainage. There you go, BMI is 24. 8.7% body fat. 66.6% water, 65.5 pounds of muscle, 10.7 pounds of bone. Alright, not too bad. Time for my shower. I'll meet you downstairs. Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to Saturday of week 6 of my 16-week marathon training program. As you saw this morning, we definitely recorded the temperature from two different devices, be it my watch. And while I had the Bluetooth on my phone, which allowed my watch to talk to my phone, which is how I download everything from my watch, which of course your phone has internet, and that's how it shows up on the Garmin Connect website. So while my watch said 79 degrees, you saw the Google app on my phone saying 80 degrees. I don't know where my watch pulls the data, but it's probably definitely not the same place the Garmin website pulls the data, because you'll see here in a second there's a big temperature difference, and I'm gonna go with Google on this one, because you'll see in a moment. I don't know where I don't know where Garmin Connect gets their weather, but it's definitely wrong. Anyhow, let's see. To begin, always start out with our shot of wheatgrass. I put it on here because it had a lot of head initially, so some of it kind of poured over. So cheers. All right. Ooh, lovely. Just kidding. But all right. Today I did something different. I did something different for 3 reasons. First of all, I'm going to show you briefly my Friday run. Friday run after my gym is usually a 4-mile run. Not yesterday. Yesterday was only 2 miles. And because Wednesday, as I share with you guys on Thursday, Wednesday at the gym are my legs and shoulder day. And I definitely picked it up a notch with legs. So my legs were somewhat pre-fatigued. And then you saw on Thursday, I just totally spanked it hard. And so I put my calves through something they're not accustomed to. So they were definitely beaten up. And come Friday, they were begging me not to run. They really were. And I said, no, we'll take it easy. We'll bring it down. We'll bring it down to 150 beat heart rate. And well, you know, of course, while I was at the gym on Friday, I do chest and tries. But in between sets, I'm stretching my calves, things like that. Do whatever I can to kind of make the run as tolerable as possible. And during my run, they were just begging and screaming for me to stop. So I'm like, all right, we'll just do 2 miles a day, and then we'll call it a day. And I'm glad I did, because clearly my calf complex, basically my entire calf complex from the knee down, shy of the gastrocnemius, which is that little heart-shaped calf at the top we all recognize as being your calf. The soleus, which is right below it, which really doesn't have any defining characteristics about it. The soleus, along with some of its neighbors, were just really hurting. And so my big concern today was whether or not they were going to be recovered enough to handle 12 miles. So I went out today on another 150 beat heart rate run, and I did this not only to help my legs recover, but also I wanted to see for myself whether or not training on a lower heart rate would indeed benefit me in the long run. And you guys saw my recovery time was what, like 32 or 36 hours? I don't remember the number off the top, but it was good and low, which is great because per Garmin, if I can recover in 32 or 36 hours and I won't be running again for 48 hours, that gives me even additional recovery time, a good 12-hour recovery time on top of that. So that means, to me, I'll go into Monday even more refreshed. So that's a real plus. That's definitely a real plus. So we have that. And then also my third reason. So I wanted to just see, reason one, calves were screaming. Well, at least they were yesterday, and I sure didn't want to, antagonize the situation, so I wanted to keep it easy. Reason number two was obviously I wanted to see whether or not running at a slower pace would definitely reduce my recovery time, which it did, which is going to be good because later on in phase 3 I will go above a 16 mile morning, and I still want to keep it under a 48-hour total recovery time. So that I can, no matter what I do on Saturday, I can still come back on Monday and train, ideally recovered. So that was reason number two. And then reason number three was because I wanted to show you guys, apples to apples, well, as close to that as I can, what a 12-mile run looks like properly fueled on that same, well, in the apples to apples sense. Last week, I wasn't pulling 150s. I tried, but it wasn't happening. But on a pace, apples to apples. So apples to apples, I was running about 8:30 pace about both days. And you'll see, this morning, properly fueled, nice low heart rate, easy run. Last Saturday, totally on empty, no fuel in the tank. And you'll see exactly what the difference looks like. So this is the best visual I think I could offer you on the importance of making certain you don't do long runs on an empty stomach. So with that, let's begin. Today was a 12-mile run. Although it goes over a little bit, it's only because I use a fixed reference point. Because normally your watch vibrates like, oh, next mile is up. Well, I know that in a short distance, maybe 50 or 100 feet or whatever, there's a street, so I just physically run to the street because for me it's just a mile marker, so to speak. That's why that's extra. I spent an hour and 43 minutes doing this, 8:33 pace. Spent 1,263 calories, and went out this morning at 4:47. You guys saw first thing, 2 different devices, my watch and Google, and well, we think Google's got their stuff together. Both of those guys were within 1 degree of each other, totally acceptable. Garmin, I don't know where they get 73 because it wasn't there. Real quick, 73 and there's no wind. There's no wind because there's not a circle here. We go to last week in 81 and there's the wind 4 miles out of the east by southeast. So that's where that's at. But even though we know the temperature is wrong then too, but at least it tells you about the wind. So we got that going on. Sorry, I know the mic on this is very good. What you just heard, that's my washer. That's my washing machine telling me that the load is done. So anyhow, back to this. Also, going about that fatigue leg thing, look here. My cadence, kind of all over the board. 182, drop down to 170 a little bit, 180, but the most part I'm up here in the 182 range. It's all over the board. So what does that tell me? It tells me that my legs were still tired, but at least my calves, but bless their heart, they still delivered. And this is important because you guys have seen on a pace like this, I should be pulling a 178, maybe even 176, a nice longer stride, because my legs are relaxed, they're comfortable, they're rested, they're healthy. And I'm pulling a 182 on a slow pace like this. That's your body compensating by bringing your legs in closer to the center so that you don't extend them further beyond the center of your body and you minimize any additional risk that you can bring to them. So that's my body talking to me. So this is good feedback. Going down further, you can see today's training effect was only 3.8. We go back to last week's and we did a 4.8. Now, why does it matter? 4.8 on a 157 heart rate compared to a 3.8 on a 150. All right. You're thinking, okay, yeah, I didn't try as hard. Okay, fine. But I did 157 on an average pace of an 8:49. That's overall. Includes your first mile, your last mile, everything. So I did a 157 on an 8:49. And I really kicked butt here. Today, I did a 150 on an average moving pace of an 8:33. Ironically, average moving and average pace, same number. Kind of cool. So I ran faster this week, and it created less of a training effect because I ran faster on a slower heart rate. This is great feedback. This is what happens when you go out of the gate properly fueled. And yes, you saw just moments ago, the scale definitely reflected that. I'm not worried about it. I know that I think, what was it, last week, I think I calculated I lost like 2.4 pounds, which is bad. And this week, I definitely recovered that and probably, per my scale, probably put on a pound from the week prior. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. Most likely because, yes, I still have fuel on board. I feel great. And in addition to that, I ran 12 miles, not 16. So I didn't spend as much with whatever I have on board. So that's how I kind of justify the weight thing. It's not a big thing, but it's still a great way of just checking to see where your diet's at. Now, looking at our splits, and really quick, you can see, here we go, average pace, average moving pace, well in the low 830s, at least in the 830 range, 840 there once. I think probably, honestly, I just wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention, but you also see that my average heart rate was 150. I maxed out 154, which means I may have even been a little lower at some point in time. Because I know there was times I was running like 148, 149, but I wasn't worried about it. I was enjoying the music and having a good day, so not too concerned. But you can see roughly in the 830 range, other than 827, good for me there. Roughly 830 range all the way across. The last tenth of a mile, I don't sweat that. And outside of that one, not too worried. But here, right, real tight in the 150 range. Till we get to the bottom, this is the 10th of a mile, 153, last mile 152. And oftentimes I always see my last mile, the heart rate go up. And I contributed that to Isaac Pavlov. You guys might remember learning about Isaac Pavlov either in high school or college. Pavlov's dog. Remember ringing the bell, the dog would salivate, waiting for the food? Well, kind of like that. Or kind of like when you put your keys in the door and your dog's barking because he knows or she knows you're home, and they can't wait to see you and they want to run outside and play. Kind of like one of those things. And so for me, the last mile, my body knows I'm almost home. It just wants to get home. It's done. I mean, not like today was like a bad day, but it just wants to get home. It's excited. It wants to be done with our run. So I think just naturally my body just puts a little bit more into it against my better wishes usually, and that's where that comes from. So yeah, as you can see, a nice comfortable pace, a nice comfortable heart rate day, respectfully a good average pace. And why do I think that's a good average pace? Through my reading journeys throughout the years, maybe you guys have run across this too, but they always tell you keep your long runs between 1 and 2 minutes slower than your goal marathon pace. If you guys have ever read something like that, I know I have. And so with that, at an 8:30 pace, this is definitely comfortably in that 2-minute range. So in theory, my marathon pace could be 6:30, 6:45, but that's still within this 2 minutes. So that's the point there. Going back over here, going back to the tired leg thing, average run cadence. You can see I was definitely in the 181s, 182 over here, but mostly the 181 range. Mostly the 181 range, maxing out at 182. Okay, that's fine. And whereas here I was definitely average 179. I was stronger. But going back to Friday for a moment. You can see Friday, i.e. yesterday, and you can see here that my average run cadence so we look at mile 1, mile 2, and then the balance of the difference. Mile 1, 179, 181, 182. What does that tell me? That tells me what I just told you, that my legs or my calves were screaming, please don't run today, don't run today. And as the miles continued, my stride shortened because they were feeling the fatigue, the injury from the days before. And so my legs were protecting themselves by bringing in the stride. So that's why I share that with you. But last thing I want to share with you on this is my calories. You can see I started at 108, I did 3 miles at 110, I did the next 2 miles at 108, next 2 at 105, 102, then I broke 100. I'm so happy to see this. This is very important to me. Now, all this realistically keeping within range about the same pace. So, and the same heart rate. So, how do you explain that? Adaptation. These calories shows me that my body is adapting to what I'm doing to it, which is key, because the lower you could bring your caloric consumption down per mile, the more calories you'll keep on board longer. So when you're out running a marathon, and hands down we all know that there's no way you could sit there and run one of these without fueling up mid-run. Just can't do it unless you want to have a last Saturday run, which was just bad. That's going to happen if you don't fuel up during your run. However, the less calories I spend per mile, that means the longer the energy I have on board will last. So that's a good thing. So that takes care of this week's run. We're doing pretty good. Again, I was just kind of comparing just some quick numbers from last week. So this is life with no fuel in the tank, and compared to life with fuel in the tank. So nice there too. Also, I'm going to leave you with this. This was the music I listened to today. It's Above and Beyond Group Therapy. This just happens to be a track that I had not listened to yet. This was published May 20th, so clearly a little ways back. But I really enjoyed this. The reason I listen to group therapy on Saturdays is because you can see here, these are 2-hour tracks. And I strongly believe that what you're going to hear on YouTube is the same thing that you would have heard, or I heard, listening to my podcast via Apple iPod. And so it's trancy. The music is really consistent with the beat. About an hour 11 minutes into this, I really like that track. So check it out. An hour 11 minutes. Check it out. That just kind of goes well, especially now that you're an hour 11 minutes into your run. It just kind of goes really well, especially when you're on a heart rate run and you're trying to keep the heart rate down. This music has that low like that little deep house kind of trancy feel. So it's not going to get you jazzed up. It's not going to get you run faster than you want to run. It's going to help you maintain that easy heart rate for these kind of runs. So that's nice there too. But that's all I've got for you guys today. If you liked today's video, make certain to hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I'm always happy to address questions and comments. And if you're new to the channel, this wraps up week 6 of my 16-week marathon training program for my first sub 3-hour marathon. Do I know I'm going to make it? No, I don't know, but I'm going to train as if. And quite frankly, there is a quote, and I can't think of his name offhand, I think a pretty famous marathon runner and ultra marathon runner. He stated once, and I'll never forget. He stated, "You never judge a race until you cross the finish line." And so I can predict whatever I want to predict, but until I actually finish, I really don't know how the race is going to turn out. So with that, I'm still training as if. I feel confident about it. I'm going to play hard. I just pulled up the weather from where I'm going to race in September. I'll tell you guys that a little bit later in my training. But it's probably about 55 degrees that morning. Beautiful day. It's definitely not going to be 80, so can't go wrong. But anyhow, again, like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join me through this journey. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. And until then, you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you Tuesday. Take care.